Let's jump over here. Let's talk about Skinamarink for a bit. Let's talk about Skinamarink. I'm going to have the trailer on, so you can see stuff. I'm going to first off by say it isn't a normal film with a narrative. It's more of like a mood piece, and it's really weird. And I was watching it like half asleep, so take that into consideration as well. I think that kind of adds to it, though. I think that's why not I enjoyed it more than normal people, but I'm not. Don't really say I enjoyed it. It was a good film, but in the way of it was more than being a good film. I enjoyed it as an experience, same as like going to an art gallery, if that makes sense. Like there's some shots that are like, that's cool, that's cool. The final shot though in the film is definitely fucking terrifying. The final shot is ridiculously terrifying. Like this is all you're getting mainly. Is shots like that. The trailer is a lot less grainy as well than the actual film is. The actual film, things are barely visible. I'm going to like knock it down a little bit maybe. Remember to turn that back up again when we get to playing the game.
In this house.
Yeah, it's a really weird film. It's more of like I said, more of like an art piece. It does, that just reminded me, it does start coming together when you get to the bit where it's like one of the kids gets called up to the room
In this house.
and you see the parents standing there, sitting there. That's when it does hamp up again. The jump scares are ridiculous. Like it's nothing like any different, but like they're so loud. But we'll start by being like, so let's start from the top. Let's start from the tippity top. So there's two kids, Kaylee and Kevin. Kevin is 4. It's not going to be like major spoiler in this, so if you do want to watch it, I'm not going to spoil it too much. But then again, there's nothing to spoil because it is not a narrative experience whatsoever. There is nothing narrative to it. It is essentially, like what I said, a walk through an art gallery. You're getting these cool horror set pieces, and then cool horror set pieces. So, Kevin's 4, Kaylee, who's like, I don't think they say her age, but she's definitely older. There's some theories beyond the film as well that we'll get to. What is it? Skinamarink. It's an analog horror film. It is very weird. There's a few shots that are genuinely some of the most terrifying things I've seen in a horror film. But I think those are let down by the fact that it is just a mood piece. So, yeah. So the two kids, they wake up to find that their parents aren't in the house anymore. Well, the mom is never seen. Apparently, it's because the parents had a divorce and they live with they don't say why. They don't say why in most of it. Your dialogue you're getting, and it's very much like, this is the dialogue. So, you can really just like it all. That is it. That's the dialogue, so you can barely make out things. So yeah, they don't really say much. And when they wake up, they find the parents there. The parents have disappeared, and there's no windows and doors to the outside world. That is pretty much all the narrative you get, and then it goes from there. There's cartoons played in the background, just give like a little bit of ease, maybe tell you a little bit more. But you have to you don't know that the cartoons are telling you more until moments have happened, if that makes sense. I'm trying to like think in my head like ways that the key points that happen, because it is very much a big beautiful horror set piece, filler stuff. Big beautiful horror set piece, filler stuff. The fact that there isn't a creature and it's just a disembodied voice makes it a whole lot better. But the film, what's a set piece? Best way to describe a set piece. Because I'm explaining it as more of a, fucking hell, my bloody mouse doesn't want to work today. Right, so a set piece, more of like I'm trying to think of, it's like really awkward to explain. So in video game terms, like bits in The Last of Us where something big has happened in the game. The bit in Uncharted with the plane when you're climbing up, that's more of a set piecey thing. But this is more of a, what I mean in this sense, it's more of like walking through an art gallery. So you're seeing more of a painting, a picture. Does that make sense? It's like that moment. It's more like a payoff to something. Get it? Wait for it to come back in. Like a bit like that. So yeah, the parents disappeared. They go down. The parents disappeared. The doors. How they do the doors and the windows disappearing is so good. Do you remember like older sitcoms, like even before we were born, like a I think of like a really old one I can think of. Let's try and see if there's like, if you remember Bewitched, that one's kind of sort of like that, and you see it there. So it's like it's done really old fashioned. It's done like really old fashioned, and like when it disappears, the camera's just off just a little bit, but it adds to it, and it's really. I really enjoyed it. Bewitched was cool. Yeah, and it's so fucking weird. That there's a point, if you are going to watch this film, have the remote handy, or if you're watching it through headphones, be ready to turn down your headphones really quickly, because like I said, the fucking audio is completely muffled. But when it comes to a jump scare, it's very, very, very loud, because they don't shy away from jump scares in this. They're like, we're going to have jump scares, and I think there's like four big ones. Yeah, there's like 4 big ones. Did your ears bleed? There's a bit where Kaylee screams. They hear noises upstairs, and the one kid goes to check it out, but the other one's in the bathroom. I remember Kevin goes to check it out, which is a weird name for a kid. Who's calling the kid Kevin these days? Kevin goes to check it out, and then I had that happen, and then the Kaylee goes to the toilet, and Kaylee gets startled and screams when she's coming back in the room, because when Kevin's in the room, there's things start floating up to the ceiling, because there's a bit earlier on where they hear the bangs for the first time and the chair's on the ceiling. It's like that bit, that's where the thing happens. Yeah, and well, I'm completely losing my train of thought here. Yeah, so that happens. There's a massive jump scare. This really is all over the place. The way that it's not like beat for beat, because I just don't remember where things fit. That makes sense, because I didn't enjoy it as a film. I enjoyed it more as I keep saying it, but as a walking around an art gallery, seeing amazing cinematography. That's the. So I'm remembering the bits that I was like, that's cool. But then the bits in between, I'm not remembering. So I can't really put things in different places, because there isn't a narrative journey. Would I like to see this director do a narrative film? Yes, I fucking would. I think that would be amazing. Like taking this style and adding a narrative to it. Maybe not the analog, because the analog horror for longer than a 20-minute YouTube video, I think it kind of needs to be found footage. I think that makes more sense. Because look at the analog horror YouTube videos. They're mainly like, or the channels that do them, they're mainly like, oh, it's old news broadcasts that got destroyed, but we found them, and now we're uploading them to YouTube. It's more like an AR experience and more like found footage. I think that lends itself more to analog horror than this, because there's loads of shots in this that are found footage. That that are like would seem like they're found footage, but then I can't be able to keep on doing that, so I'm just gonna go back over here and play some music. Yeah, like the bit with the massive jump scare, it's kind of in Kevin's point of view. So when Kevin's looking up, the camera's up, and he's like, so is it kind of lying there, like lying around there. Anyway, after that, they go back to the living room because when they find out the parents are not there, they're scared. So they're like, we'll sleep together in the living room and just have cartoons repeating. And then that's when we first hear the disembodied voice, and Kaylee hears it, and she goes upstairs. And this is when the film started to become more of a film. But at this point, we're an hour in. We've got 40 minutes left, and because there's nothing really happening, that hour feels like it's 2 or 3 hours, and it's really weird. Because I'm like, oh, we're getting to the climax soon. Oh no, we're not. We've still got 40 minutes. So we've still got like another 10-20 minutes to get to the climax. And like, this feels weird to listen to while I'm talking about spooky stuff. Does Twitch soundtrack have like spooky season playlist? Maybe. Probably ran by normal people, so that's a no. They'll probably just put it up on Halloween like normal people would. Yeah, and she goes up, and this is when the film starts to become more of a film, and it starts to click a bit more, because this is a very cool bit. This is probably my most favourite bit of the film. She goes upstairs, and the parents, even though there's only one parent, we only know one parent at this point, as far as we're aware, the mum and dad divorced, and the mum's somewhere else. The parents are sitting on the bed. Well, first it's just the dad, and you hear the disembodied voice, and he goes, "Look under the bed," and you're like, "No, don't look under the bed. Don't look under the bed, Katie. Don't look. What are you doing? Don't look under the bed." She goes to look under the bed. She lifts her head back up, and it's like, "Oh, just look under the bed." Looks under the bed again. Nothing. Now this is a cool thing, because anyone else would have put a jump scare there. I probably would have put a jump scare there if I was directing the film. I was like, easy scare. That's it. Do that. Put the jump scare there. Comes back up, and the dad's gone, but the mom's over the other side. She tells to close her eyes, and then that's when it goes black, and we hear like clicking sounds. You want to see it though? There is no narrative thing. It is very fucking long. So I won't spoil much. I won't spoil what comes next. But I've been missing out big things. I'm trying to miss out the thing that comes next. Then, if you want to watch it, is that. Oh yeah, and then there's a bit where he rings the police and stuff, and he's like, "Oh, I'm hurt and shit," because that's part of the big thing. I don't want to say what it is, but he's just like, "Oh, I'm hurt and shit," not literally and shit. And then the entity turns the phone into. You've seen the picture of it, like it's the main. Like it's the main like picture from Skinamarink that people have used. Trying to find it just on its own without someone else in it. There you go. That. Can you see that thing? That little toy, little Fisher Price toy. Turns the phone into that. Apparently, it turns into that. I didn't think it did. I just thought that was there, and it is one of those weird like shots that they do. But apparently, when I watched reviews afterwards, mainly dead meat reviews, apparently that is that's the phone, and it turns the phone into that. Again, nothing really much happens after that, apart from then we get I presume a time skip, and it's like 527 days later, I think it says. And I know you've got ads. I'm going to try and do this as slowly as I can. Yeah, it's like 527 days later, and this is when we get a very, very cool shot. This is probably not my favourite shot as in horror thing, because that was obviously the parents on the bed. But my favourite shot, as in movie wise, is this. It's the toys on top of the, and well, we see the thing where ceilings and floors are flipped the whole way through, and it's a very cool shot because you have like you have the toys, and it like kind of like slowly moves out. This is the first time the camera's moved, by the way. The camera is static the whole time. There's no movement cuts. It's just hard cuts every time. Every time it moves to another scene, it's hard cut all the time. Apart from this is when it's like panning out and it's fading a little bit as it's moving, and then it cuts to a loop of blood splattering, and that's pretty much the film. The last shot, though, I am going to say what the last shot is, even though you want to see it, Madam Butterfly, out because it's terrifying, and it's so good how terrifying it is. This is it's just weird because when you watch it, please stick with it because it does. The first hour and 20 are like so confusing. What the fuck is going on? It's just a mood piece. It's the director doing director shit until you get to this bit. Until we get to the bit with the parents on the bed. After then, it's like more of a proper movie experience that you can probably get into, and that's when it starts clicking. Yeah, but the final shot, the last thing you see is it's all black. It's got the fuzzy, and you can just make out a face in it, and just that alone, it was like terrifying, man. And that's all it is, and it's the kid talking to the entity, and that's the film. I do recommend it. I really think you should watch it. Just don't expect it to be a horror that you've seen before. It's like the best way to describe it. You know when the Simpsons take the piss out of all adult cartoons like the Simpsons, Family Guy, that stuff, take the piss out of artsy films. That is it. Like, I'm actually googling Simpsons, not googling, YouTubing Simpsons. Like student films. It's like that. I would say because there's like a specific. It's the Barney one. This is the bit I'm on about. 4, 3. I'll wait for the ad to finish. This.
They're gonna show my movie.
This is the type of thing that I'm on about. This is like what it is.
Movie? No wonder I was on the cover of Entertainment Weekly.
Don't go over Reddit.
My name is Barney Gumble. I'm 40. I'm single,
This is exactly
and
what.
I drink.
This is exactly what Skinamarink is. It's just this has more of a narrative than Skinamarink.
There's a line in Othello about a drinker, now a sensible man, by and by a fool, presently a beast.
Yeah, this. I'm just gonna leave it playing.
It's brilliant. Savagely honest, tender. He has the soul of a
Probably not,
poet.
because I'm probably getting shit actually.
Excuse me, did something crawled on your
How
throat
long's
and
left?
die?
It didn't die.
Yeah, but not like that. I don't want to get fucked by the Simpsons. I don't want Disney to come and fuck with me, man. Mickey Mouse is going to come with pitchforks. Yeah, I do recommend watching it. Just remember, it is going to be like that for like a massive portion of the film till the bit with the parents, and then it'll click. But there's theories to the film. If you don't mind me getting into theories, because there's one that I really like, and it's the entity is the director. And it's like this weird. I don't know how to explain it. Like, because the director is ordering the kids about and telling them what to do for them to stay safe, I suppose. There's also one where it's Kevin is in a coma. Because earlier on in the film, the first line, or one of the only lines really, that you have from the dad is him on the phone to what we presume is the mom. And it is like, oh, I don't want to alarm you, but Kevin fell down the stairs. He's fine, just a bit shaken up. The theory is that Kevin is not fine. Kevin is in a coma, and all that is happening in his mom's Like people, like I've said all this, and you're probably thinking, "Wow, this is spoiler heavy." It's not. I've missed out all the spoilers. There's 3 big things in the film that I've missed, and those are the main like spoilery moments. The rest is literally just shot of the corner of the table, shot of a doorway. Like that's what it is. It's very like mood piece and art house. That is like my thing though. Watch it, definitely watch it. And the idea of the entity is really cool as well. If there's nothing there, you just hear it. But just like I said, if you're gonna watch it, have the remote. If you watch it on TV, have the remote next year, because it will be very quiet until the jump scare happens, and then it will be stupidly loud. Not like a normal jump scare loud, like stupid loud. And then if you've got headphones, just keep adjusting that volume. It's ridiculous. I would say it's probably best watching it at night. At night, complete dark. I know most horror films you watch it at night, and some like you can still enjoy them. Most of them you can still enjoy them watching them in the day, in the afternoon. But this one is definitely, it's very dreamlike. And I think that's why. I might have not enjoyed it a bit more, because I'm still like meh about the film, but I was like falling asleep halfway through it. So I think that kind of leads to the dreamlike nature of the film, and I enjoyed it a bit more. And maybe.